Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Yes, we're not doing a live show tonight. We're going to save that for Thursday. So we'll talk about this more on Thursday, I'm sure.
Yeah, the live scene after a game is pretty crowded.
No kidding. You've got Herc show going on right now. You got Filippo and Tack doing their thing.
Filippo and Pete.
Yeah, Filippo and Pete. Who the hell did I say?
Filippo and Tact.
No.
They're two different people. I knew it.
Same person. Sam was a little concerned because I was on his show earlier, not on the show, but I was in the chat.
Were we in the the tailgate?
Yeah, I was in there, and I mentioned what I was eating for dinner tonight, and I didn't lie. I had a leftover Taco Bell, Supreme, and then I had 2 boiled eggs. And then I started drinking orange juice and vodka. He thought, ooh.
See, that sounds like an awful dinner, by the way. Absolute awful.
It was really good. Who doesn't like soft-boiled eggs?
I ended up, because I didn't feel like making anything tonight because of the game and having to do a bunch of shit before some in-laws come in. I ended up buying a rotisserie chicken from Kroger.
Oh, yeah, you do that a lot.
And a lot. No, I don't.
Well, you told me that before that you bought one.
I mean, I have bought them in the past, but
so 2 in the last year.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty fair assessment right there.
Okay.
Actually, probably 2 in the last 2 weeks. 6 months. But
I used to do it too.
I got the rotisserie chicken because it's already cooked, done.
Yeah,
and then I just cooked up some asparagus and had some chicken and asparagus.
Yeah, you could throw in a little rice on the side. You're done. Your job is done. Yeah, I was
get all my heavy grains for my alcohol.
Did you see Pulisic call out the fans at the
I did. I have that written down. I was going to bring it up.
I mean, he's perfectly said it fun. Thank you for all the people who did show up. But
yeah, he questioned. He said, we're in the middle of America. We're in the heartland of America. Why couldn't we get more Yanks here? I don't know.
Well, that's
he didn't go that far into saying it, but
we got a lot of Moroccans in the Midwest and sort of the major cities. Oh, yeah. Moroccan Americans. Absolutely. And of course, they all showed up. But, when they bought their ticket, they didn't get interrogated by U.S. Soccer.
Are you American?
I want to know if you're going to go there to cheer for our team or
show us your jersey. Show it now. Do it.
Team of your parents. They can't do that. So they don't know. I mean, maybe they can ask. Maybe that's how they get them all grouped together in certain groups or something. Because it seems like they're kind of.
I'm perfectly fine. I've been fine decades and decades prior too.
You had to be
of being the underdog within your own stadiums, and I think that made us a stronger team as a whole. Not saying that having a 20,000 seat stadium of 100% U.S. fans wouldn't have rocked by any means. That'd been great, but I think playing, kind of an away match at home has been beneficial for us in the past.
Yeah. I think so. I think that helps in some ways, but it's nice to have, at least in the matches that count, to have a pro U.S. crowd.
That standing room section, they T-posed it up, and that's how much distance was between each fan. It seemed like.
Yeah, I guess. So.
Arms out. You can't touch. No touch. No touch.
By the way, tomorrow we're also going to take on Crane and Company. That video I sent you. Crane and Company.
Yeah. About nobody cares about the U.S. Yeah,
so I'm not going to really timestamp it. We'll just go through it. I don't think they're going to file anything against us. So pretty sure they're there. Dude, they barely get 1,000 views per show. They're going to be happy to be criticized.
Wouldn't put it past anybody. Did they really not? That seems like a heavy production for not getting 1,000 views.
I know, it's DW. You would think it would be doing better than that. Yeah, some guy was joking in their comments. Oh yeah, you're trolling us. So this first show broke 1,000. Congratulations.
Clickbait.
Also, if Teicher Twellman says one more time that the word he's getting in Germany is that Malik Tillman is going to be better than Julian Green. Like, no fuck. Where have you been, dude? No. Tight shirt. Where have you been, dude?
People in Germany are really high on this Malik guy, more so than Julian.
Where's shit been? No fucking.
No, it was one of those things that same age when he was called into the U.S., he filed that switch and everything. That Julian was heralded as a top prospect as well. He was playing in the Bayern Youth Academy, similar to Malik. I'm not saying that it's apples to apples at this point by any means.
You know what the German Federation said when they lost
shirt? Yeah.
When they lost Julian Green?
Yeah.
Nothing.
It was like, nerds.
Oh, darn. Go ahead and have them. Yeah, when they lost Tillman, they threw up a stink. I mean, if you're paying attention anyhow, you already know that Malik Tillman's already played more games for Bayern Munich than Julian Green ever did.
Yeah.
And he just came up to the first team. I think he played 7 matches. So,
while we're on the subject of Malik Tillman there, I thought the most the obvious thing to bring up here with him was how easily he fit into the system. I mean, the team itself, not necessarily a system, but team itself.
Yeah.
I mean, he came in there, and it was his first match, and you wouldn't been able to tell. You would have assumed that he had been in there for 3 windows with how well he was playing.
Yeah, no. And, I have to say, following this game was really confusing because our midfielders were all the fuck over the place.
Yeah, they're nuts.
Everywhere.
They're nuts.
They were running like banshees. Aronson, holy shit. I hope he didn't pull a testicle out
they
there.
They talked about it. They were talking about the commentators were talking about it, at least him and Tillman and the other. Who's with Tillman? I keep forgetting.
I never remember that guy's name.
I'm sorry, but yeah, he's fine.
Ever.
He does a solid enough job. I just never remember his name.
He does a solid enough job, but not enough for me to like Ian Dark. I remember Ian Dark, but I don't ever remember this guy's name. John something?
Yeah.
Is it John Generic? Oh, John Generico. All right. That's
John Doe?
He has an English accent. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. John Doe with an English accent. But they brought it up and how like everybody who scouts out Aronson has to do like a double take on the numbers because he is legitimately everywhere.
He covers so much ground. It's crazy. Yeah. Like the one time that Adams made this jolting move and they got totally burned, and it was only, it didn't look like Aronson could get there and help out, but he did. He stuck out his foot just enough, and that was like one of the last shots by their team, and they missed. But we'll get into the player stuff. But also, can I just say this? If we're playing a team that doesn't speak Spanish, shouting out Dos Acero is like meaningless as a mock to the other team. It really is. And by the way,
I think it's more of a more due to a culture of the U.S. than it is to mock in that sense. But I get your point. I thought the same thing, kind of.
We did it to Mexico to mock them. That's why we do it to them. We are mocking.
Sure, that's where it started. But now it's everywhere. Every time we're up 2-0, it's going to come out. Guaranteed. I agree, though. I heard it. I was like, okay, well, I guess that's kind of a cultural thing now with the U.S. It's one of those things. So people bag on the U.S. fan base, and they bag like, well, come up with your own chants. And this was cringe to listen to. Quit doing the Icelandic clap or whatever the fuck that thing's called. Yeah. Quit copying everybody. And then we actually have a legit thing that's like culturally developed over decades. And we're sitting here going like, a little strange, but it is. That's our own thing. So I'm fine. I'm fine with it. Whatever. I don't care. I'm fine with it.
No, I think it's better when used to mock. And if it's not being used to mock, then I think we're wasting ammunition. I say
they're going, what the fuck is he saying? I have no idea what they're saying.
I think we should save that for the right moment. Like all Spanish speaking countries, we mock them with 2-0 when we're up 2-0-0. But those guys on the fucking Moroccan team are like, what are they chanting?
Europe conquered most of Africa, anyways. Is Morocco have any form of like Portuguese or Spanish?
French.
French.
Yeah. So no, outside of French,
what's
probably not much.
French.
Probably not much. Whatever less
zero
it is.
Minus.
Pretty sure they say zilch. Isn't that French? All right.
French?
No,
that sounds more German.
It's not French at all. I think it's actually. I don't think it's German. It might be a form of Yiddish. It might be Yiddish. So, see, you're staring at your kids. You're like,
well, I keep reading thump, 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 thump. I'm expecting to see a face at my door. And
yeah.
I don't know if you notice that when we do live stream stuff, I'm always looking over there. I'm like, hold my hand up like I'm talking on a phone here.
Yeah. You need to put a booby trap out there of some sort.
I'm like, it's 9:50. I got up at the end of the game. I walked out there, and my son immediately goes, I just woke up. And I go, bullshit. Bullshit, you just woke up. You heard me walking down the hall, and you're like, oh. And thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, next time just feign like you're asleep.
That's better.
I would never have looked over at you until you said, I just woke up. And then he also has been on a kick of, I got heartburn. And don't get me wrong, it's possibly his heartburn. I don't know his body or anything. But he's never had it up until he found out what Tums are. And I think it's just another excuse for him to get up out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the equivalent of, I got to pee again.
Kids are great bullshitters. So I once tricked Nick when he was like 6. I bought something that a box, and I put it on his collar. And I said, you know what that is? He said, what? I said, that's a bullshit alert. And what happens is when you bullshit, it pops up on my phone. So don't bullshit me. All right. It worked for like 6 months. And he's like, that's not really a bullshit machine. But, best behavior for 6 months.
We used to just tell them whenever they're acting up, like, you calm down or else we're going to sell you off to Mr. Bigley. And Mr. Bigley was some random salt mining, coal mining operation that took part of child labor. And we're just like, yeah, do that. So Jackson recently is like, oh, yeah, I don't believe you. There's nobody named Mr. Bigley. So Evie was like calling some company that you can call, like you can send a message and they'll like report it out like it's like a voicemail. And she kind of had it going for a second there, but I think he caught on to it real quick.
I think
he's a pretty quick kid.
Oh, my parents pulled shit like that too. When we were in Leavenworth, a lot of the inmates at the jail, I mean, it's also an army base, would be digging ditches alongside the road. My brother was getting bad grades and whatever, kindergarten at the time, or I guess it would have been, kindergarten. And my dad
need to learn to tie your shoe.
And my dad would say, you see those guys there digging ditches? That's what you're going to do.
Dad at all.
That's what. He was a lot louder.
You kind of threw in kind of like a German-ish accent in there.
You see those guys over there digging ditches?
It's better.
Yeah. That's what you're going to do if your grades don't get better.
Basically, yes.
I mean, he was being raw, but my brother got the point. Okay, get better grades in kindergarten. All right, which he did eventually. He was really good.
So we jump back to the point of this entire video and talk about the game.
You mean the game? Hey, it was a great game. It was enjoyable to watch. It looked like everybody knew what the fuck they were doing.
And it was a quality depiction of what our high press can actually do. In the first half, Pulisic, and Jesus had 6 shots on goal. That's kind of the ones that went in, obviously, but they had 6 shots on goal. Yeah. That's an excessive amount of shots. I mean, not just shots in general, but actual shots that required saving or resulted in goals. That's a pretty solid effort by the attacking trio there.
I agree. You are seeing and noticing, though, at times when we just take a break from the high press to get a breather. Mm-hmm. And then we go back to it again. And then we take a breather next time. Yeah. We don't play so high up. We don't go at the goalie and shit.
Well, you can't. Well, yeah, you definitely saw it enough where, like, when we lost possession, like in their defensive third, our attacking trio kind of resulted back into almost like maybe 15 yards from our halfway line. Yeah. And they weren't high pressing from there, but they were just sitting there waiting. Okay, let's see what you're going to do. Move forward. I thought it was a very that first half was extremely fun to watch.
And I know this is going to bug Sam because he doesn't like talk about positions and formations and the numbers of the people playing. It's like, it's all semantics in the end. Sounds a lot like Jimmy Conrad used to sound back in 2000.
He jumped on our wagon at the end.
Yeah, did he? Yeah, Conrad's back with us. Now he's like, yeah, fucking that all counts.
Actually going to matter, I guess. No.
Yes.
I don't think he went that far, but he's like, you guys keep harping on the formations and
yeah, and he told us to stop doing it. Well, now we're doing it, and he's doing it. But yeah, Sam, you got to get there. It's not just semantics, really. And people are like, hey, I think so and so is going to play a 10 tonight. No, he's not, motherfucker. No one's playing a 10 tonight. Everybody's playing box to box, and some guy's like, well, not really. Our 8s don't really play box to box. What games have you watched?
Let's say because Musa. I've brought this up a number of times in the past couple windows that Musa seems to be sitting back further and further, allowing insert partner 8 to be more offensive minded, if you will, which I thought kind of threw me for a loop because I'm like, the windows prior to that, we saw Musa constantly turning the ball and attacking pressure. And he kind of mixed it up this game. But there were a number of times, especially in that first half, that Musa sat back. Yeah. So it's not that our 8s are box to box with our 6 behind them. But there is an offensive-minded one. There is a defensive-minded one. It really depicts on what side of the field we're really focusing on.
And they will switch roles, depending.
They will, absolutely, yes.
Like when Musa takes and charges the ball up the field, Aronson knows, hey, find the open space somewhere just behind him.
And that was the biggest gripe most people had prior to the game, was questioning whether or not Aronson could pick up the defensive responsibilities of the 8.
That wasn't my worry. My worry is, are they going to all get in each other's way like they did last time? So I wasn't worried about his motor at all.
Let me get to that in a second. I was just going to say, Aronson had a solid number of defensive interruptions where he completely broke up the play and moved on with the attack. And it was good to see because I think that puts them to bed the concern that he can't pick up those defensive responsibilities.
Aronson was one of the best players on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. When he was playing with Salzburg, he was playing as a 10, so he was comfortable in the midfield. Mind you, he may not necessarily have had the defensive responsibilities that he's expected to with Berhalter's side, but quite frankly, he picked it up. And I think everybody keeps falling back to the El Salvador game, the first game of the World Cup qualifying, and there were just so many factors in that game that were working against everybody, that he stood out because it was not a great game for him. But then again, a number of people had bad games around him.
Yes.
It all added up. But
so, way, no, the point was,
game. I agree.
Yeah, the point was in that game, they were all getting each other's fucking way on the left side.
And Pulisic, I did want to bring it up too, yeah.
Yeah. Aronson who was playing in the midfield. And who else? There's somebody else getting the fucking way too. So Anthony Robinson. They were a clusterfuck on the left.
That left side of the field was just a clusterfuck. Yeah. Absolutely. Against El Salvador, yes. Absolutely. Yes. 100% that's exactly what happened.
It was great
tonight. We talked about that too. No, not tonight.
No.
Well,
tonight was good.
To an extent. And
there were times.
Fucking tight shirts still two of my talking points. He brought it up. Now they don't sound original. They don't sound legit. But I'm going to bring it up regardless. But okay. we talk about how Pulisic needs to stay out wide. We look at Weah and say, hey, look at him staying out wide. He's creating a lot of really good chances. We talk about how Pulisic checks in. He did today. Center, and he did a couple times too. And Teicher brings up a great point in the sense that when he checks back and checks into the center, he really cuts Musa's at the kneecap. Musa can't turn and accelerate forward when Pulisic's standing right.
But this is obviously at this point a part of the plan.
Because it has to be. You're right.
Because look at how far up the field, especially in the first half, Anthony Robinson was when we had possession. He was further on the left, up the left wing than fucking Pulisic was.
Mm-hmm.
It was like we were playing a 3-4-3. Honestly.
I think, quite frankly, Berhalter wants Pulisic to check back, not necessarily check into the middle as often as he has been. And I'm not saying he's doing it consistently by any means. Pulisic had another player that had a really great game today.
Yeah.
But there were times where he checked into the center and just cut our midfield off the kneecap. And yes, that did open up the left side for Jedi to run up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But quite frankly, our midfield couldn't operate the well that it did. Now, when he didn't check into the middle and Musa had the opportunities to run forward and into the space, and Aronson had freedom to run all over the fucking place. But when Musa had the opportunity and the space to run forward, man, Musa just fucking cut right through that entire midfield.
But I think,
right through it.
It's definitely, this is planned out at this point. Because when we have possession, you notice Cannon and Zim and Long held the back three.
Do you think this is the 3 center back formation that he was alluding to?
Well, back when they had to defend, they went back to the 4-3-3.
Sure.
But on offense, when we had possession in the back, we were building out of the back. Anthony Robinson was like miles up the left side.
Yeah, there's 2 points I want to bring up here. Assuming that everybody's healthy and we had Dest, obviously you're not going to play a quote-unquote 3 center back. But when Cannon was there, Cannon sat back more, allowed Jedi to go up. Ergo, you're playing kind of a 3 center back on the attack.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be kind of what Berhalter was alluding to when he talked about the 3 center back. Not necessarily like a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 or whatever. Maybe we were all looking at that wrong. And maybe this is what he's kind of talking about. Because, again, Cannon at the club level played as a right center back. You brought this up a number of times in our Yanks Abroad report.
Mm-hmm.
So
it works, right?
Maybe he's looking at that as an option. I will say, though, that Cannon, Zimmerman, and Long in this scenario, in this game, need to communicate better whenever we're getting countered on. Because if Jedi's bolting up the field, you can't necessarily require or expect him to recover.
No.
So there was a number of opportunities that Morocco had that Long had to commit more centrally because everybody's pushing to the right, and then a person on the left, our left, I guess, that Jedi would normally be marking was left wide open because he was recovering 30 fucking yards or so, you know?
Yeah, I mean, let's not beat around the bush at all. I mean, they had opportunities.
Oh, absolutely.
They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
Thank fucking God on that one.
Yeah, and fucking Matt Turner was just
on par,
spectacular.
Man. Jeez.
Spectacular.
And I agree with Tight Shirt on this as well. Quite frankly, my opinion is the goalkeeping position is Turner's to lose.
It should be. I'm sorry.
It absolutely should be. And
I'm sure that Stefan's issues with his family are absolutely 100% real, and I'm sure they need to be dealt with. But you know what? That's going to set you back a notch. It just is.
Yeah. And I have to say, when it comes to an actual like shot stopping ability, I have no fear when they're shooting the ball on goal
when
Turner is in the goal.
Right.
And I can't say that about when Stefan's in goal. I'm not trying to take anything away from Stefan. He's a solid goalkeeper. He can stop shots. But when it comes to just like every time they put anything on goal, Turner saved it. Hands up everywhere.
Yep.
You know, just epic reactions.
And he wasn't bad with his feet tonight either.
No, a couple of goal kicks that went out of bounds, but that was few and far between. But as a whole, yes. I thought that too.
He's very even. He knows his limitations, one.
Yeah.
But he's also, because of that, knowing his limitations, very spatially aware. Whereas Stefan, to me, sometimes seems like he don't know what the fuck's going on around him. Like that Man City game versus who the fuck was that? Was that Liverpool? I mean, that was awful. That was awful. I mean, it's like, dude, can't you see that guy? You have peripheral vision. Can you not see this guy approaching? Just kick the shit out of bounds, dude. Yeah. Fuck it. Anyhow, yeah, I'm totally sold on Turner. That's all I got to say. And by the way, that 3-4-3 in attack was Long, Zimmerman, Cannon in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Your midfield became Pulisic, left midfielder, Musa, Adams, Aronson. And then you had Robinson playing like left winger and Weah out on the right wing and Ferreira in the middle. I mean, it was
in that sense, Pulisic kind of played more of an advanced. I don't want to say 10 because he wasn't playing at 10.
No.
But kind of playing a more advanced outside the box role.
It just seemed like he had freedom to roam wherever
Sure.
the fuck he felt free to roam.
I mean, I feel like with Pulisic, you might as well just give him that freedom at the point.
That's what it looked like to me
Yeah.
today, because he was dipping back, he was going in, and then fucking Robinson was Jedi was so far out wide, he was almost always open when he got the ball. Now, cross, that's another story.
And that seems to be the biggest crutch when talking about Jedi is like, oh, what is he doing with this cross? His crosses generally aren't great by any means, but when he cuts it back and plays a pass like 10 yards into the box, that's when magic happens.
Yeah.
Usually. So hey, Jedi, stop trying to cross the ball. Just cut it back and pass it into the box. Every time you'll be successful with that.
Yeah, and Jedi at the beginning of the game did make some poor passes too.
There were absolutely some poor passes. I think I marked at least 2 in the first half that were just like, oh my God.
Yeah. This is the first time I can honestly say that, I think Gregg might be figuring this out a little, because everybody looked like they knew what they were supposed to fucking do. Even the subs. All of them looked comfortable. Everybody looked comfortable, except for, oddly, Zimmerman tonight. But I think he got caught in a few situations that
I think it's that change of positional awareness with the 3 center back options. And I don't know. Or maybe he just relied heavily on Miles' pace to recover on certain things.
Well, most of the times they were exploited, it was coming down the left side, our right side, Cannon, and they managed to kind of ticky-tack their way through Cannon, and it left Long exposed. So
all those opportunities started from that side, but they finished on the left side. Every single one of them kind of worked their way around. It was predictable, but then again, it was methodical in the sense that they worked their way. They pulled Zimmerman out, and then Long had a cover back, and then all of a sudden the left in the back post is just exposed.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed every single time, almost every single time on their attack, unless they got greedy and tried to create something. And don't get me wrong, even on their greedy attempts, it's still required. A lot of them still required a save by Turner. So
yeah, this game could have easily been 3-2 tonight.
Yeah,
easily.
Turner came up huge on a couple of plays.
Yeah.
They couldn't hit it on goal to save the life. Like you said, they couldn't hit the side of the barn.
Oh, yeah, they kicked it over the goal how many times over the bar? And then their free kick, they couldn't hit the goal either. They hit the actual bar. Yeah, so.
But ultimately, the big questions of today, I thought, when we started seeing the subs, because we predicted the lineup.
We did, except for Aronson at midfield. Yeah.
And I it's interesting because not only was I okay with it with Aronson being in the midfield, because I was hoping to see more of that, and he played well today, very well today. I was actually really interested in seeing Luca De La Torre as the 6.
Me too. Yeah.
When he came in for Adams, it's like, okay, let's see what happens here. And his ability to accept pressure and then escape it is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Now, when
somebody's going to be keeping an eye on him, and he's going to be moving this summer. Absolutely.
When he came in for Adams, did he move to the middle?
No, he played the 6.
Did he?
Yeah. You had Weston came in later for Aronson. You still had Musa in there.
So Musa stayed the whole time. So I guess
Luca De La Torre came in with Tillman. So you still had Aronson, you still had Musa.
Yeah.
And then Aronson got subbed out, and then it was just McKennie, Musa, and Luca De La Torre.
I was really comfortable with Luca De La Torre. I was also comfortable that he got to play and not Acosta as his backup, as Adams' backup.
Makes you wonder when Berhalter's looking at this 26, and he's getting a bunch of other players like Malik Tillman's coming into the fold now, that he's going, I really got to start weeding out some players.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have Luca De La Torre, who can play the 6, but he can also play the 8 successfully.
He did tonight.
Because Acosta can also play the 8, but not as successfully.
Acosta can play almost any position except for center forward. So
he plays the back. He plays a wide back too. You play a number of positions too that could add him to the roster regardless.
So could I. I'd just be bad at it.
Fair point.
So let's just make sure that by the way, Sam had a question on his show today. If you had to pick either Brett or Derek or Pete and Tact as your teammates for a soccer team, who would you pick?
Well,
and then he, he's like,
soccer
Brett and Derek are old.
They drink a lot.
They did both play competitive soccer, but I don't know.
No, I think it'd be fair for him to say Pete and Filippo. Pete and Filippo, because they're both in shape,
but
we both have multiple knee injuries.
I know we do, but I think we're over them for the most part. Whereas the both of them have current knee injuries. So
if
currently,
if the game were today.
Yes, the game were today, I'd pick us.
And that's the ultimate thing. Like, if the World Cup were tomorrow.
Yes. And you got a bunch of motherfuckers who can't even walk. You're going to pick guys who can at least run 5 miles per hour.
Oh, and I guess the other big talking point for this entire window, and quite frankly, all the way up into the World Cup, is who are we going to play as the number 9? And
I know we keep having this conversation. We'll get to it.
We have to talk about it because we had our debut cap tonight with Haji Wright. But let's first start with Jesus.
No, what I was going to do is we're going to review the players.
We're 31 minutes into this, man. How fucking long?
Well, a lot of this will be quick, right? Matt Turner gets an A.
Oh, we're doing the grades tonight?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't have that. I don't have that done.
No,
we're doing the grades tomorrow, man. Do the grades tomorrow. It is going to be me spitballing shit right now.
All right, then we'll talk about some of the players if you want to start.
Fine.
But I was really impressed with Wright tonight. He is a more skilled and more quick, and some of his first touches are just amazing. I fell in love tonight with Haji Wright.
It is oddly enough, in the play that resulted in the PK that we got, I thought his first touch wasn't the best on that play, but his hold-up play following that bad touch was successul. And that's what was eye-opening for me, was his ability to hold it up, find the person. He found Weah, who then tried to play it to Pulisic, but then Aronson turned and shot, which was a great shot. And then it bounced to Pulisic. Pulisic drew the PK.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I had fucking chills whenever Pulisic handed that ball off to Haji.
That was great.
I mean, I'm like, ooh.
They're old team. They're old roommates.
Roommates. Yeah,
from U21s.
Weah played with them.
Or U19s.
What a great trio that is right there. Weah, Pulisic, and Haji Wright. I mean, they all know each other from their younger ages.
And that's not all. Adams, McKennie is part of that crew that all grew up together. It's crazy. Even Cannon was around those guys a little bit. And
regardless, I mean, it's fascinating. It's fun to actually watch a youth prospects coming together, molding at once, where we had like a decade prior of nobody.
Yep. Nobody. Exactly. That knew each other and had come up in the youth. Like Dempsey was in none of our youth programs.
I mean, I was sitting there writing down notes. I knew I had time. I'm writing down notes, and then all of a sudden I hear Pulisic handed it off to Haji. He's like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
What a nice sentiment there. And then he buried it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I got chills from that fucking goal." That's one of the few goals I got chills on.
I think it might be. They played together. They were roommates for the U17 camp. I can't remember which one it was. But anyhow, nobody said which one, but I can remember them playing together.
No, it was definitely youth. And I don't think Pulisic played for the U20s by any means, because I think he was already with Dortmund at that point.
No.
And probably playing with he was playing with the US in the previous cycle.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think it was definitely U17s.
He was already with us when he was 18 years old.
And he said roommates, so that makes sense with the residency.
Yeah. No, it was on definitely the U17s, I think.
So,
but yeah.
As the 9 position is concerned, it's funny that we're sitting here because I thought Ferreira did pretty good. I thought he had a pretty solid first half. I thought Haji showed more in the sense that, again, he's a true 9, whereas Ferreira is not a 9.
Both Ferreira and Wright should have finished.
Yes, Ferreira definitely had one opportunity that he should have finished.
That Aronson got him.
Yeah,
he was wide open.
And then he had one chance earlier on that was a really nice shot that was just saved.
Right,
but still, they both should have been on the score sheet. I thought they both played well, and they're both working.
Well, Wright did eventually, but
yeah. And this game did definitely, I think, not necessarily solidify them, because obviously we have a couple more games to go into this, but they're definitely solid contention for at least the 2 spots. I don't know if there's going to be a third 9 in this spot, because, and again, Teicher steals my fucking point again. But
nobody listens to him. Don't worry about
exactly. No. But I mean, what are the other options as far as possibly playing Weah as a 9 instead? And then you throw, whether or not Reyna's healthy out wide with Pulisic or Aronson out wide with Pulisic. I don't know. I
just
agree.
Don't see it happening.
No, I don't see it happening either. And I agree with his counterpoint to himself. Like, he argued with himself. And he said, and Berhalter would counter with this, saying, well, we're going to remove him from a position where he's actually doing really well. And I'd see both points. But I could also see maybe he's your third option. Maybe you have a Hadji and a Ferreira, and then you have a Weah as a third option 9.
I think Pepe's still making this team unless he completely implodes. So
no, I agree with that too. I do see Pepe making the team as a whole. So
yeah, Pepe and Haji Wright are similar, though. You keep that in mind. Ferreira plays sort of a more false 9.
I'll say Haji is probably is definitely faster.
Oh God, yes.
And he's
more
confident.
faster.
Well, he's more confident at this point. Quite frankly, you see when he's checking to the ball, he's receiving it and everything. He's more confident than Pepe is, because Pepe hasn't played in half a season.
Yeah, I think at this point, Haji Wright might have evolved to actually be the player we all thought he was going to be. It just took him a little bit of time to get there and bouncing around. So
I mean, then again, it might take that much. It might take time for Pepe to get there too. It might take him a couple of seasons before he starts getting into the groove of things.
Or he could fall off completely and lose all confidence. I mean, that's happened to other players.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at Bobby Wood. I mean, he just totally fell apart. Yeah. So I mean, and all of us had high hopes for Bobby Wood, and he when it came to make the cut in the Bundesliga, he just couldn't get it done. And he pissed off his team, requiring a loan, when they went down, and they were like, no, we need you. We need to go back up, and you need to be on this team. He's like, fuck off. I got a fucking release clause in my thing. So fucking loan me, bitch. And they did loan him. And then when he got back, they held that grudge against him for not being loyal to the team. You sit the bench, bitch. And he didn't even do that well when he was loaned out that season. So it was not worth it. He only devalued himself, actually. All right. I think that's probably close to
I think that covers everything we need to cover, because we do have our live show tomorrow. We need some content there.
No, we got 2. We're going to rate the players. We're going to do Crane and Company. Bam. That's at least 2 hours for us. Hopefully not.
Probably about accurate. Oh, we're going to recover, or we're going to review the Football Americas information, and I'm assuming that Greg's probably going to have an after-game presser. So we're going to have a shit ton of content, I think.
There might not be anything in that.
Sure, it's possible.
I mean, the last one, the pregame, there's nothing in that.
I mean, at this point, I think any form of presser after the game is going to be a bunch of fluffing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what could you possibly criticize? I mean, I don't think there's much at all to criticize in this entire game. I thought it was a really well played game. And I thought Berhalter played the right players at the right time.
Outside of it being chaotic at times.
Sure. Well, you're going to get that with a bunch of youth and a bunch of high press. I mean, it's going to be chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we lost our form because it was so chaotic, and then we got hit on a counter. And
a more structured opposing team might put up a better fight.
I think if that's Spain, all those are goals. Almost all of them. And we lose 4-3. So there you go.
Very possible.
Offensively.
If you had to pick a man of the match, who you got?
I'm going with Aronson. I just think he was all the fuck over the field tonight. And I know he scored, and that was mostly Pulisic's doing. But for me, he was the motor tonight.
Oh, before I jump into mine, I did want to give props to Zimmerman for one thing. And everybody bags on the Miles and Zimmerman pairing with the non-ability of playing that long ball when needed. But that was a fantabulous long ball to Pulisic that caused Aaronson's goal.
Who kicked that one? Zimmerman?
Zimmerman hit it. Pulisic brought it down and played it over to Aaronson, who scored.
Give him props for that.
Everybody in that front, outside of Aaronson had the easy tap. But I mean, Pulisic's ability to bring it down, hold
that
it up,
was sweet
cut it back, and play it across, fucking phenomenal. But Zimmerman was the one who played that long ball. You got to give him props on that.
I did not know it was him.
Yep.
I couldn't. Yeah, that's nice to know.
So,
but I also think CCV came in and played really solid too.
Sure,
so we'll get it on. Yeah.
I won't get into too much detail, but he did have the one play where he got caught out of position on that cross that almost that resulted in a header. But saying that,
that should have been a goal. Honestly,
should have been a goal. Yeah. I mean, but Turner came up big again. I mean, the Moroccan player did everything you needed to do.
Yeah.
Check off the defender, head it back across goal. Should have been a goal, but Turner shut him out.
Yeah.
I've got, it's kind of gonna be kind of a cliche in this sense, but I've got to give the my man of the match to Pulisic. He had the
that's fair.
He had the assist. He drew the PK. I mean, it was such a. He just had a solid performance outside of a couple of hiccups here and there. I just thought he had a solid game.
And I think you can make an argument for Turner too, if you wanted to. You know?
I mean, he kept out at least two goals. At least 2 goals I can think of.
Well, now I'm thinking of 3. Now we mentioned that header.
So it's definitely up in the air. I mean, I don't have any outside of that random goal kick or two that he had that went soaring out of bounds. I think it was only 1 goal kick, but I'm not sure. But yeah, to your point earlier, played very solid with the ball at his feet. He made excellent saves. You can make that argument for Turner, absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of good things to talk about tonight. We'll get to some detail tomorrow, but this is our initial reaction. We hope you enjoyed watching that game tonight. And if you didn't, I hope what we provided helps you sort out what happened. I mean, not in detail or anything, but make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. And we'll be back on Thursday night at 8:30 or 8:15, Brett?
8:30.
8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the live show. Until then,